Now let's set the record straight. There's no argument over the choice between peace and war, but there's only one guaranteed way you can have peace, and you can have it in the next second: surrender. Admittedly, there's a risk in any course we follow other than this, but every lesson of history tells us that the greater risk lies in appeasement. And this is the specter our well-meaning liberal friends refuse to face, that their policy of accommodation is appeasement. And it gives no choice between peace and war, only between fight or surrender. If we continue to accommodate, continue to back and retreat, eventually we have to face the final demand, the ultimatum. And what then? When Nikita Khrushchev has told his people, he knows what our answer will be. He has told them that we're retreating under the pressure of the Cold War, and someday, when the time comes to deliver the final ultimatum, our surrender will be voluntary, because by that time, we will have been weakened from within spiritually, morally, and economically. He believes this because from our side he's heard voices pleading for peace at any price, or better read than dead, or as one commentator put it, he'd rather live on his knees than die on his feet. And therein lies the road to war, because those voices don't speak for the rest of us. You and I know and do not believe that life is so dear and peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery. If nothing in life is worth dying for, when did this begin? Just in the face of this enemy? Or should Moses have told the children of Israel to live in slavery under the pharaohs? Should Christ have refused the cross? Should the patriots at Concord thrown down their guns and refused to fire the shot heard round the world? The martyrs of history were not fools, and our honored dead who gave their lives to stop the advance of the Nazis didn't die in vain. Where then is the road to peace? Well, it's a simple answer after all. You and I have the courage to say to our enemies, there is a price we will not pay, there is a point beyond which they must not advance. Winston Churchill said the destiny of man is not measured by material computations. When great forces are on the move in the world, we learn they're spirits, not animals. And he said there's something going on in time and space and beyond time and space, which, whether we like it or not, spells duty. You and I have a rendezvous with destiny. We'll preserve for our children this, the last best hope of men on earth, or we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness.
Welcome back to Logbook Podcast, everybody. I know we've had a couple weeks off due to the holidays. We are very, very, very selfish with our liberty hours, as most veterans are.
As we should be.
And as we should be and are required to be. Before we begin, we'd like to put out our disclaimers today. This show does not reflect the views of the Department of Defense or any other government organization. Veterans and civilians, be advised. The topics we discuss are burdensome, but just remember the courageous patriots you are. No one gave us an order to be weak, and in fact, the order that was given was for us to be courageous. Tonight we have a very, very special show. We are talking about hospital protocols and policies, and it turns out that the same things that we are going through in Veteran Affairs Administration and possibly even with TRICARE, as we've just found out that we can't even get a hold of anybody through TRICARE. If you call a line, it's just an endless routine of, I guess, messages.
Debacle.
Exactly.
Is a nice word.
A complete red tape. And, it's absolutely saddening to me that the things that we are going through is now spilling over into the civilian community. And it's something that I believe in. Dakota, I know, firmly believes that we should not stand for anymore, especially when we swore to protect the Constitution, we swore to protect the civilian community that is America today. And the fact that it is spilling over, it is something that is unforgivable and should be handled with extreme prejudice.
Against all threats, both foreign and domestic.
Exactly.
And exactly what we're facing is a domestic threat through healthcare and healthcare policies.
But we like to thank our networks, our hosting networks. We'd like to thank Common Denominator Network for hosting us, and we'd also like to thank Conservative Sisters. We would like to show you their, go ahead and put on their show times on there. We have very special guests today. We have Sarah Lindley Bailey with My United Activists and Love Someone with Cancer. We also have Joey from Flagrant Patriot. Unfortunately, he was not able to attend because, you know, capitalism is an awesome thing and he's at work. So
make that money, Joey.
Exactly. And then we have the wonderful hero nurse of healthcare, Jennifer Bridges, on with us tonight. Before we bring them on, we would like to do a recap on recent news on VA. This week in VA, I guess. The Dallas VA is under an extreme scandal this month, or actually during Thanksgiving. And of course, it was actually put out Thanksgiving, so no one gave a crap anyways.
Yeah. Everyone's just getting fat and happy, which you should. You should. It's Thanksgiving.
Exactly.
But this is what they do. They hide stories like this when you least care about things going on. Your focus is your family, as you should be, but this is how they hide stuff from you, the public.
Exactly.
So what's going on in the Dallas VA is that there are 2 logistics workers got caught with a $2.9 million scandal. They stole $2.9 million out from the VA, underneath the VA's nose.
That's your taxpayer money, by the way.
Yes, it is.
And it's how they did it. It's so simple. There's no vetting within the VA. Is that they created a false company where they would order things from.
Oh yeah, the owner of said company was one of the logistics workers, and through a mobile pay app, I believe it was called Stripe, they made payments with Veterans Affairs funding, with their dollars,
your tax dollars,
in order, and paid this company that this person owns in exchange for 0 goods, and he just pocketed the cash.
$2.9 million. And what's the sad thing is that if you look at the OIG reports, please go to OIG reports. They are listed at VA OIG. And these people, when they get caught, everyone pleads guilty. But, you know, it's just, here's your ankle monitor, and let's go ahead and put that on for 3 months. But here's the thing, where's the funds? In these news reports, it never tells us where this money is going to. But here's the thing, I think we would be happy to serve maybe 1 year to 3 months in jail and then turn around and have $2.9 million afterwards. Mm-hmm. There's no accountability, even within the Justice Department, for these investigations. It is absolutely appalling. I mean, shoot. I mean,
yeah, these people haven't been sentenced yet. I don't.
No, they haven't. They just put in their plea.
Yet. Yeah, they just put in their plea, their guilty plea. And if they follow the same pattern as they have in the past, these people will go into jail and they're going to wait for an appeal, and their appeal is going to get approved, and they're going to be out on the streets.
Exactly.
And then, in a lot of cases, the VA hires these people back.
Right back. It's so dumb.
Yeah.
But they go to another VA system, and then the cycle continues. But it begs questions. Not to be a conspiracy theorist, but possibly here is that where is this money going to? There's no one actually, after these court cases, no one actually figures out where this money is going to. Is it going to the individual?
Is it actually been confiscated? Is it going back into the VA's financial system?
I guarantee you it's not going back to the VA. I think they're raising more funds because
if they could say that to us, then yeah, I think we'd be a little bit more at ease, but they don't. They don't report their financial documents or their financial situations to the public, even though they are a taxpayer, public funded organization. Then it's asinine.
Well, we would love to say we'd keep you updated with this story, but I seriously doubt since it was released during the Thanksgiving holidays, I seriously doubt that any reports or any follow-up is going to be released to the public, because we believe as the government as being highly transparent. So I doubt we can actually give you a follow-up on these reports and where these funds are confiscated or therefore allocated. And that brings us up to our guest tonight. We'd like to introduce, again, our wonderful healthcare hero nurse is Miss Jennifer Bridges. And here she is.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, I cannot hear you, Jennifer, at all.
No, not at all.
Can you?
Let's see with Miss Sarah if we can hear her.
Okay.
Hey, Miss Sarah, and this is Miss Sarah with My United Activists. Hey, can you say something? Maybe we have some mic issues.
Maybe we do have mic issues.
Yeah, I can hear y'all, and I can hear Jennifer.
Okay.
All right.
Hold on. We're gonna figure this out.
Okay. Well, hello again.
Hello, friend. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
Yes.
If you see me acting all crazy, my dog keeps jumping on my lap, so I'm kind of like.
I have one too, and he's like trying to groom himself right in front of me. So, if y'all hear any licks,
it's not
sorry.
you.
It's not me.
Good.
Gotta love the puppy dogs. Gotta love the puppies.
I just had to ask my husband to put our big ones up because we have 2 boxers and a Yorkie. So the Yorkie jumps on me, it's no big deal, but the boxers are over here like damn near wrestling like on top of my leg, and I'm like, wait, like hold on.
Yes, puppies. We have a German short-haired pointer. He's a rescue, and we love him. Absolutely love him.
It was on our end. My apologies.
Hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah, loud and clear.
My apologies on that. Technical errors. Must be those government computers in action.
Yeah, it must be great. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they don't want you talking to all of us.
No.
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, freedom of thought, freedom of speech. Oh my goodness, it's too much for the government to handle.
Thanks, Del.
So we have again, we brought on our heroes of healthcare right now. Jennifer Bridges, we actually have something very special coming up. You're doing a clay shoot, and I know. Yep, and I know us in the veteran community, we love our guns.
Oh, yeah.
And we are going to bring that up here in a second. And then, Sarah, I know that you have been a champion. You've been using almost every second of your free time, especially to help us veterans on passing the Demand Healthcare Freedom Act and the GAPS Act. And can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing?
So I feel like that we should have more transparency within everybody's health decisions. Long story short, I feel like that we need to do more for our veterans. I don't know if y'all can tell, although I am not a veteran, I am pretty patriotic. I have many friends and family that are serving or have served. And I just feel like that we need to do more for our veterans.
That's good. We actually have that fundraiser here up for.
Oh.
There it is. It's your clay shoot.
Yes.
If Jennifer.
Can I
go ahead and
speak on it real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
That's our clay shoot. A lot of people know that after Houston Methodist fired all of us last year for the COVID vaccine mandates, I've been working real hard fundraising to try to raise money. And a lot of people who followed us might have seen that our federal lawsuit got dismissed. But I got a brand new lawyer, and we're filing in state actually this month and working our way to the Texas Supreme Court to try to overturn this and stop this in Texas. So this is our upcoming fundraiser, January 21st, and it's going to be a clay shoot, something fun and different. You can sign up individual or as team. We'll all be out there that day. There'll be a raffle, lunch is included. It'll be a good time. Our prices are pretty affordable. And that way, all the money can help us. All the money we raise helps us towards the lawsuit, so we can beat Methodists, since they're like this billion-dollar beast of a giant. So we need to make sure we get enough funding to nail them in court and make sure they're held accountable.
That I am 100% stand with you on that.
Absolutely. I mean, something needs to happen to keep these these just mega hospitals in check, and it's gotten ridiculous with everything.
Right. It's but the thing is that I've noticed is like there was all this talk about I mean, even under Obama about, that we as conservatives we actually stood against is free healthcare. Free healthcare. What that did is it subjected our doctors and our staff and our nurses to a socialist system, and me and Dakota saw it. It's like, oh great, everyone's going to be under the VA because these doctors are so pigeonholed to actually practice what they're doing. It's just reinventing the wheel. It's reinventing a slavery in a system. It's not freedom. Mm-mm. And that's something that
you cannot diagnose people with check boxes. There is a myriad of causes that requires the knowledge and sometimes even the intuition of a doctor, of an experienced doctor, to go out and have that relationship with the patient. And when you have this free healthcare, this socialist medicine that the VA is so keen on pushing on veterans, then there is none of that. There's no trust, there's no comfort, there's no nothing.
There's no relationship whatsoever.
No relationship. It leads to anxiety and stress, and it causes even more injury.
There's like I've gone to appointments where doctors are just zoned on the computer. They've never even seen my face at all. They've never touched me. I've had and then it's like when you talk to them later on the phone, they're like, who are you? I'm just like, wow, did you read my record? They don't even have time to read your record. Mm-hmm. So it's and that's what I've seen is as happening with the civilian community. And the thing is I do have a primary care doctor now that will sit there and actually break hospital policy and turn the computer toward me. And he's like, because he's so frustrated. He's like, you see these check boxes? I have to check all these little tickers. And you don't fall in that category. And like, therefore, is it the computer doing the doctoring or is it me? Yeah. And, I have to sit there and I have to be fair with them. It's that I believe that our doctors, they are pigeonholed by red tape.
Yeah.
They're not free to
red
practice
tape and
their
bureaucracy is what it is. And, it's that's what decides what healthcare you get is this set number of check boxes, like a standardized test. They run your check boxes through machines like, oh, you have to do this now. And the doctors don't get to doctor.
No, they don't. And
No. I actually have a really quick, funny story. I think you guys would get a kick out of this. It's kind of sad, but it's so truthful about the VA. So when I was working in last year, patient, right? And we had a man come in that had went to the VA because he was having trouble breathing. He had COVID, that, and they did anything for him. So he came to us. We treated him really well, got him feeling better, but he needed some home oxygen. So instead of paying for it out of pocket, of course, being with the VA, I was like, well, let's just call the VA. I'll talk to your doctor. They can set you up home oxygen, right? VA, and she refuses to help him. She will not home oxygen. She won't do anything unless he goes there to the ER. And he's like, well, I don't want to go there. I already tried going there and y'all did nothing for me. And then I get on the phone and I'm talking to this doctor right at the VA. And I was like, well, let me tell you what we did. And I went through the list. We did high dose IV steroids, antibiotics. I'm just telling her everything we did. And it was funny. She paused for a minute and I don't think she realized what she was saying. She's like, wow. She goes, y'all actually treated him way better than we would. She's like, we don't even do all that stuff for them when they come in. And I was like, that's why he doesn't want to come to you. And then wouldn't get him oxygen. And then what's really funny is she realized what just happened. So about an hour later, she calls back and guess what? She ordered him that oxygen, got him set up. He had it the very next day because it proved to her that they weren't taking care of these poor patients and having to go elsewhere. And she pretty much admitted it to me, Yeah.
I will say this is so funny. So this is kind of the card we're dealt. I would say this is our kind of trump card, is that when we go to the ER and we say we're dealing with veteran affairs, it's just like every doctor goes, oh, I hate them. I'll help you.
Yeah.
Every nurse, oh, I hate them. I'll help you. And it's just like to watch them. They're like, oh, we get to be petty against the VA. We are so down.
It's like
It's great.
It turns into this, it's a pissing contest in our favor. It's like, this is how a real hospital runs Veterans Affairs, and it's comical. It's extremely comical, the level of care and compassion that these doctors have for, either Kimberly or myself whenever we go there, like to a normal hospital, like, that are not the VA. Then it's just it's overcompensating.
Yeah.
What it is.
Yeah, it is. It's really, I had a service dog. It's just I retired him because he's so old. It's just that when I would go over to the hospital down the street, they would like, oh, you got the service dog here? All the nurses and the staff would come in just to say, can we see the corgi? And it was just, I lose him for a little bit because they were just like, I needed that. I need the day just to see the corgi.
Yeah. He's so old because we don't take him to the VA. So, just
pretty weird as it is. But I did want to bring up with a little bit with Sarah is that with what we're going with, where it involves children, is that the VA has been with Champ VA, even with TRICARE, they're sorely lacking in child care. And with your stance is that you lose all parental rights. And I actually saw another female veteran that my lawyers have, and a few people of importance actually have reviewed, is that she actually, in giving birth to her child, she had the same thing happen to me, where she also lost almost every bit of her parental rights. And what do you think that is?
Well, it's because they're not held liable. They have gotten away with it for so long. And now medical freedom is actually on the Texas GOP platform. And hopefully it's something that is on the Democratic platform. So the two parties can actually work together to stop this madness, because I was even denied Benadryl for my child. Benadryl, probably one of the safest medicines out there. And it's about these hospital protocols where you're just another number instead of treating the patient, like y'all said, accordingly. It's marking these check boxes. And, long story short, I couldn't fire a doctor after he placed his stethoscope underneath my child's gown. She was only 4. And, she knows my body. And if anyone touches my gown without my consent, I have the right to punch them. And, Taylor was a little spitfire. Let's just put it this way. Dinosaurs were her favorite animal. So, I mean, she punched the guy. She said, my body, get out. And she chewed everybody, all the nurses out. She was like, get out, Nurse Katie. Like, everybody was Nurse Katie. She didn't even care who your name was. She even told doctors, she was like, get out, Nurse Katie.
Oh, wow.
She was a little spitfire. And, it's just unfortunate that I did not have the right to even fire this doctor after he practically molested my child in my eyes and in most other parents' eyes as well. And we just need to bring that advocacy back, because whenever you have a child and you advocate for them, security is called on you, or threats of, well, you really don't have a choice in the matter is said. And we need to change that, because people's lives are dying. I mean, children are dying because of this. We were denied a blood culture test based on a 100-year-old plus study. The 98.7 temperature, We
Mhm.
cannot run tests based on that study, although it's genetic on everyone's, temperature range on my side of the family. I have a 97. That's my
Yeah,
baseline.
I have that too. Mine is
Yeah,
97. And Beatrice, she has the same problem. Hers is also in the 97.
yeah. So we need to change that because it is asinine to think that this is leading medicine. And here you are basing your information on one, a study that was over 100-year-old study, two, that didn't even have probably children involved in it, but it was
Yeah,
based on her brain tumor.
yeah. This is
You
all
know,
we're all being treated like we're not being treated as individuals anymore with our own individual genetic makeup, and
We saw that with weigh-ins
yes, all that with weigh-ins
in
and
the
everything.
military.
And we're all being treated like we're cogs in a machine. He's like, if this cog does not fit properly, well, I guess we don't need it. We'll get one that does. And we're being. It's almost like we're being culled. It's gotten to the point that again, we'll reiterate, we're not conspiracy theorists, but the more and more as time progresses, it looks like we're being killed off.
Yeah, I know that. I did research on the hospital death panels that I used to think a little bit. Sarah Palin was quacky a bit, but I was young and dumb and probably drunk most of the time because I was in the military when she was in. But I remember she did bring up the actual hospital death panels, and they've been proving true recently. And then honestly, we saw them with our experiences with the VA because a buddy of ours, he had a hangnail, and it was cheaper for them to amputate his toes than to deal with the hangnail. And everyone knows Bates boots, they sit there and they warp our feet. I do not have pretty feet anymore, so I guess I'm out for OnlyFans. I used to have pretty feet. Because they
You stop talking that mess here.
they ingrown our toenails, and you have to dig them out, and it's all about funding. And again, with my legs, when I was in the military, they were talking amputation below the knee, and it had to do with, it's cheaper to cut off my legs versus actually doing surgery. I had an amazing amount of people sit there and get me to the right doctors to do the correct surgeries for it. And I'm walking here today. So thanks. And that's where I'm saying we do need our healthcare workers. But I've noticed there was a shift where, again, is that these people are blaming the doctors, especially with this pandemic situation. Like us, a lot of veterans do, is they blame the doctors at the VA, and then the doctors are they're just as frustrated as the veterans. And it's just like, is there a way that it's going to cause division still? And do you see that division as well?
well, I think that their hands are tied. I don't know what you think about that, Jennifer, but I mean, I feel like that everybody wants to keep their job, and all the different hospitals are the same because they are nonprofits practically in the public field. I don't know if many people are aware of that.
Well, what's hard is it just depends on the doctor, because your majority are just going to keep quiet because they don't want to lose their job. They're a big entity. But then there's a lot of doctors that do speak out, lose their job, have a private practice, so they're willing to do the right thing, but then their license gets in jeopardy. They get a lot of negative pushback on them. But then it's cute, like in the Houston area especially, we have a big like underground kind of network of good doctors, right, that are still working in big hospitals and stuff. So if one of us has a patient and it's like, hey, we need the specialist, you send them to this doctor, they're still under maybe Methodist or Memorial Hermann or one of the evil bunch. But you go in the doctor's office, they shut the door, and then they're like, okay, I'll talk to you for real now. And they're 100% on board.
Yep.
They just public with it because then they know they'll lose their job. they'll go after them. The medical board will even go after them and try to take their license.
That's exactly what happened when I tried to have Beatrice.
Yeah.
I had these fantastic nurses. I'm not going to say their names per se, but literally I had one bad nurse in there, and she's the one who ended up calling CPS on me because she had a son in the military, so she knows everything about the military, and she didn't know the difference between Department of Defense, Department of Veteran Affairs, that there are two branches of government. So it was really sad, but I literally had my OBGYN break some policies and protocols to save the life of my child and to save my life. And I am forever thankful for that doctor. And I notice is that once you build relationships with these doctors, sorry, I mean, to me, I would stand with this doctor no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
Wherever he would go through. And I noticed that by creating these red tapes and everything, you break down the actual doctor-patient relationship. Mm-hmm. And, I grew up in Alvin, Texas. My eye doctor was also my referee in water polo. So when I got smacked in the eye, he's like, I'll see you in the office Monday.
I mean, my childhood doctor, to me, because I was a 13-year-old boy, he was an asshole to me. But we had a relationship, and that's what it was. I had plantar warts on the bottom of my foot that had to get burned off once. And it was like, so all that barefoot caught up to you, didn't it? And it's like, just hurry up and burn these off, doc, okay? And my stepmom would just look at me, just stare daggers at me because I had talked to the doctor this way. Oh, you want to talk like that, huh? So he pulls out this big old gun thing connected to liquid nitrogen that he's going to freeze these warts off of me. And he's just like, you may feel a little stinger burn. Just you fucking prick. Just that's my thoughts on my doctor.
Yeah, no one does that anymore. And I did notice is that I love my doctors over here at this Memorial Hermann. When I found the tumor in my arm, and it was the size of a baseball. Inchrodroma tumors should not get that big here in the United States. And they were my surgeon. I had one of the top surgeons in the U.S. thanks to President Trump and Mission Act. He was ticked when he saw my tumor. He's like, this is third world. You don't see this in the United States. And when I went there, I had a panic attack. I went straight to the ER. And I just remember I was I didn't know it was a panic attack. I thought it was a heart attack or something because I haven't had one of those before. And the nurse, it was an RN, she came over and she just sat there next to me. And she said, you know what, you just need to get something out. And I just told her everything that happened. And she said, you know what, we're not going to let you leave until you need to get it off your chest. And she built a relationship with me. And then whenever I came into the hospital after that with, my CRPS and RLS, or everything is wrong. They knew it was wrong, what was going on with me, even with my gastroparesis. It's just like, okay, we see it. Let's talk it out. Let's figure out what you do. Because I didn't want the opiates. They would figure out alternative medicines so I could, survive, because they know that I'm using them as a primary care because I cannot get the access that I need. And I tell you what, just sitting there with that RN, she just let me cry in the room. And then she started crying with me. And the next thing you know, she just grabs my head and just lets me just let it go. And then she told me, you come in here anytime and I'll take care of you. And I think that's something that's missing in healthcare. Mm-hmm. I think we would definitely have a lot better if we actually had relationships with our doctors. And I think that honestly, because I feel like what's coming is that even though we stand for hospital freedom, is that these people standing for hospital freedoms are going to be attacking the doctors. And I don't want to see that happen. or the nurses, because I've heard some horrible things from
Yeah.
conservatives on that.
Thing is, I have seen auto mechanics treat cars more like people than some doctors treat people like people. It's
sad, but it's true.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's sad, but it's true.
And let me tell you one thing. I don't know if y'all know that this happens, but like, you know, my favorite place ever, Houston Methodist, right when they were firing all of us last year, all private primary care doctors that had their own clinics, you know, and then would see their patients in the hospital.
Mhm.
The hospital came to them around the same time and was like, hey, you know, you can't come in here and see your patients anymore unless you sign on with us and become a hospitalist. So it was basically join our crew, become a hospitalist, or you're not allowed back here. And all these private care doctors, like tons of them, were like, well, we don't want to do that. We have practice. We're not going to sign on with y'all. But when Methodist does that and gets them on board, they can control them, dictate how they treat patients. They get to treat them the way they want to, and they pay them cheaper too. So all these private doctors were like, no, we're not doing that. So they got kicked out. So then when their patients go to Methodist, they're not allowed to go in there and see them. And these patients are pissed because they want their own doctor. But then what they do is to replace them, they hire all these like brand new doctors as hospitalists to come in. And then they just do whatever they're told to do by the hospital to make more money. And these patients aren't even taken care of properly. So vicious cycle of just like,
I have something to tell you on that. So Methodist works really close with Veteran Affairs Administration because, you know, we're also a teaching hospital. So on the VA's website, because of that situation, they still have doctors listed at Methodist that no longer work there.
oh,
And they're still getting funding from it. So, so it's like they're making appointments with us with doctors that don't exist.
yeah. Oh, I'm sure. Because some of those doctors, like they get kicked out and they're looking for new homes now. Like, where can I go see my patients, you know? And I hear about it all the time. And these patients are pissed. But Methodist is going to use every angle and every way that they can to just keep making more money. Because that's all they son.
Sarah, you look like you had something.
Oh, it's just unreal because it feels like that they have loyalty and they forget their oath if they continue to misrepresent their patient.
Mm-hmm.
That's the bottom line. If you are going to put your job and you're going to put the hospital and listen to the protocols while your patient is dying, then you need to retract your oath and stop practicing. That's the bottom line. Unfortunately, I mean, and I'm not saying that all doctors are horrible because I feel like that anybody that goes into the field of healthcare actually do care about people. And I just feel like that people are also having their hands tied because they still want to provide for their family as well.
It seems like to me, it's kind of like how it was in the military a bit. And that's what's disconcerting to me is that these doctors, these medical care professionals, so I agree with you, but it's that they're actually in a held hostage situation because they're in all this debt. They have families, they have lives to provide for themselves. And I can see that it's like, why am I going to risk my all for you, my livelihood, because they're under such attack and under such stress. And I've noticed that, and I've actually had doctors in Veteran Affairs say that.
Yeah, I think it comes to
They're
a point.
scared.
It comes to a point that the doctors cannot move. It's the doctors do not have the freedom to practice as they see fit. They don't. They're being locked down, and like Kim was saying, they have families to think of too. And you know, they have just this big medicine just sitting down on top of them and saying, no, you have to do it like this and do it this way and do what I tell you to do, or else I'm going to get you fired. I'm going to be all over your LinkedIn profile so no other hospital will hire you.
And it's your
And
medical license.
And then I'm going to tear up your medical license at that point.
Here's this sick thing about what's sick about private doctors or doctors like here in the state of Texas is that VA doctors, they don't have to have a state approved license to work here in the state of Texas. So they've actually removed the power of medical boards completely and from any doctor in the VA. So I could have and that's what's happening in the VA. They caught 1,600 unlicensed doctors in the community care program. And so we could be a quack doctor from overseas or a quack doctor from, the bayou. That's who we could be seeing.
A janitor who did really well on dissecting a frog in junior high. We could be seeing that guy.
Actually, I would prefer that guy over to some of these people at the VA. I would have more faith in that.
Yeah.
Right? Because it sounds more common sense.
Well, your heart's the same as a frog's. It just has an extra chamber. So just...
Here, let's do
let's do that.
Let's do the best way is a transplant.
I like your optimism, sir.
Transplant
Go
is a
ahead.
potato.
Quadruple bypass it is.
No, it's a potato. It'll work better. Oh gosh. So anyways, I don't know if y'all can explain, Jennifer, exactly. I know since this is a military show, we actually do have a lot of military viewers. What exactly happened with Methodist? If you can talk about it, please do. If you can't, we understand because, court cases we're used to.
Oh, I love to talk. I'm an open book. Which part are you wanting? Are you kind of wanting a story like from the top, or?
Let's start from just a brief story from the top. I mean, and then what your goals are and what you're fighting for, because we're people of action. We want to hear your solution, and we'll jump in.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm going to actually, I'm going to keep talking, but I have to grab my power cord real quick, so don't mind go for a little walk with me. But, okay, so super long story short, you know that we were the first ones in the whole country last year to get the nice little C-shot vaccine mandate, right? Mm-hmm. So then, of course, they just long story of just basically, bribing us, threatening us, the whole 9 yards before anybody else had to go through it. So the whole country is just kind of watching us to see like, okay, what's going to happen now? Because after they were done with us, everybody else was going to jump on board. So the majority of people, like more than half the staff, did not want it. But so many were just basically, they were scared. They were threatened. Oh, you got to see my Christmas tree.
Oh, great.
Most of them were scared, threatened, just didn't know what to do. So they all took it. Majority took it against their will. And it's sick because the CEO, like Mark Boom, he'll brag to all the media, brag to everybody. Oh, we've got like 99% compliance. But that's not true. How can you brag about something when basically they forced you against your will? I mean, there would be single moms, all kinds of people calling me, crying their eyes out. Because once I got like pretty big all over the media and people knew that I was fighting back, they were all contacting me. I mean, I would even have employees call me on the unit before we got fired to basically like, hey, what are you doing? I want to join on. I need help. I mean, employees were desperate. They didn't care. But these people were literally crying in these seats, getting the shot against their will. But Methodist is bragging about it. And of course, now we see, like we knew back then, it didn't do any good. They all still caught it. Now everybody's getting injured or getting, different things wrong with them now that they never had before from the adverse reactions. But basically, I had started a big lawsuit, got over about 250 people now on board. We took it up through the federal courts already, but the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals did not rule so nice with us. They dismissed our case, didn't want to hear it. They basically said, take it back to state level. So that's what we're doing. We've got another stronger, even better lawyer on board now. We're taking it all the way to state, going up to, our main goal is the Texas Supreme Court. because I don't know if y'all saw, but the police officers and the firefighters just did it in New York City and they won.
Right.
Of all states, the craziest thing was it happened in New York first, and they all got reinstated with back pay.
And this was in New York City.
That's
Well, the
amazing.
good
That
news
is
is,
amazing.
I don't know if you know this, but as of last week, 20 senators are backing the military who was kicked out. So, and then they're saying, hey, get that back pay from their service as well. This also includes DOD contractors.
Yes, and that's what now I'm starting to see a lot more states, national congressmen jumping on board, and they're all admitting now. There was no reason to do this. It was unconstitutional. It violated the Nuremberg Code, basically every code out there to protect human beings, and that's one of our main goals is to hopefully get to the Texas Supreme Court, win for wrongful termination. Hopefully it'll trickle down to the rest of Texas, which needs to happen. Everybody can get their jobs reinstated, back pay. I want Methodists to be held accountable because they wanted to be, that quote unquote leading medicine. So they wanted to be the first ones, which then trickled down and then basically cost millions and millions of people their livelihood, their families, their careers, everything they worked so hard for. And it's so disheartening because I even have the bumper sticker on my Jeep. It says, from hero to zero. I mean, everybody loved us when we were treating COVID patients and risking our lives and no one knew what was going on. But as soon as we say, wait, no, stop, don't, we're a patient too. We don't want some experimental thing injected into our body against our will. All of a sudden it's, oh no, wait, we don't want you anymore. Kick you to the curb. Thanks for your service. But, go live on the streets now. And it's like, no, that's not the way it's supposed to work. So if we can win against them in court and hold them accountable it's going to trickle down the line and hopefully stop everybody and get everything back to where it's supposed to be.
That's exactly what we're saying. I mean, I when COVID-19 or the pandemic happened, I remember I was sitting on my couch and I looked at Dakota and I was like, oh great, now everyone gets to live under the VA. And then after the 2 weeks was over, I was like, oh my God, everyone is going to live under the VA. I was like, and Dakota and I were like, people are going to die.
Yeah.
We're just like,
there's tons of people there.
And I haven't.
So going back on what you said, do we really violate Nuremberg Code?
Oh, absolutely. Have you ever read the whole Nuremberg Code?
I've seen the trials. I've seen the footage of the trials. And we actually broke crimes laws that were put in place based on the actions of Nazi war criminals.
Yes.
That's insane.
And if somebody looks up the Nuremberg Code and looks at every point on there, we have literally violated every single code on there that came into play because of Nazi Germany.
That's what I told about it. That's what the VA does. I mean, because it's down to with the Disruptive Behavioral Committee, if you don't do what we say, we give you your little Jewish star, which is a red tag that says you're a disgrace. And you have to walk through the hospital while the staff and everybody thinks that you're a terrorist and they treat you like that.
Yeah, they give you a red tag on that you got to wear on your shirt. And you are treated incredibly differently.
I mean, and the thing is, it puts your life at risk.
Oh, yeah.
And then you are assaulted by the police officer. And here's the legislation that we're proposing. So I was assaulted at Veteran Affairs Administration. I had dental work done and they pulled a tooth and they said, okay, here's cotton, clench it in your mouth, 45 minutes and everything and we'll be good. Get the heck out of here. I was like, gotcha, doc. And we go down and the VA police, they had my ID and they said, or they asked to show my ID and then they took my ID and then they said, well, we need you to say your name. And Dakota's like, dude, she just had dental surgery.
She had dental surgery. Her mouth's full of cotton.
And I'm all numb.
I went in to
Chubby Bunny, right?
Yeah, I was Chubby Bunny. There you go.
Chubby Bunny. And I go in and it's like, hey, can I get my wife's IDs? Okay. Her picture's on it. Hold them up. Compare. Do something. She doesn't need to talk. She has a mouthful of cotton to keep her from bleeding. And it is like, and apparently I spoke in such a monotonous way that this guy thought I was being.
He tried to
belligerent
pick a
with him.
fight with Dakota, and he
Yeah.
was like, we could throw down right here. And then I put myself between Dakota and this VA police, and there were two of them. Then I got hit. And at that point, I was like, I remember I pushed Dakota out, and the other cop had their IDs, and he was like, what the hell? And I just grabbed them, and we ran. And then I was all that stress has just reopened everything, and then there's just blood pouring out of my mouth. And the next thing I know, I'm throwing up in the parking lot. And I went to Houston Police Department. I was like, I was just assaulted. Oh, it's the VA? Well, you can't write a police report. I was like, but I was assaulted by a VA police. And you know what they said? Well, we all know they're dirty. We know they're a piece of shit.
Oh
But literally, we can't do anything. And that's what's being legislated for us, is that if we're assaulted, we get to finally go to local police.
Giving the local police jurisdiction inside of Veterans Affairs in the state of Texas, anyway, and so that we can have someone in our corner while we go to the hospital.
Right. And that's one of the things we're legislating. The second thing we're legislating is that we can't be arrested for red flags.
Yes.
At all. Because I believe that that's 100%. And that's, again, Nuremberg Code right there. Stuff for you.
Yes.
So we didn't know, or I will say this, is that I did not know it was that bad. And thank you so much for educating me on the particulars of that. Because right now I'm just like, okay, I'm so motivated. I'm like, okay, who do we go take out? I like taking out people.
Call me up anytime. I'll be right there next to you.
I will be too. And I know, Sarah, you feel the same way, right?
Yeah, I actually went up with Jennifer at the first. Well, was it the first or was it the second? The rally protest up at the Capitol.
Oh, I don't remember which number it was.
It was either the first or the second, and I was there. There was a press conference and everything, and needless to say, I was like, I even like, yes.
I remember.
And long story short, my husband and I had this pact that I don't go downtown Houston all by myself, and I don't go to Austin all by myself. And needless to say, I was breaking our pact. I was like, God is telling me that I have to go. And that's how I met Jennifer. And that's how, God is good. And I am just so thankful. And long story short, Kimberly and I actually have mutual friends because we grew up in the same hometown.
Oh,
so that's why I was doing the little Alvin.
Yeah, it's crazy. We her best friends and me, we grew up together. It's like we were always in the proximity of each other, but we never met. And it was like, and the thing is,
got brought together right now.
Yeah, well, here's the thing is like whatever Christine Steeny says about Sarah, I'm like, okay, whatever she says is gold. I'm just like following Sarah around like a puppy because I know Christina and she would never lie. She would never tell me anything bad or tell me she would tell me watch out. I mean, she's an Air Force veteran, she's got my back. And she walked with me through my surgeries when I was going through my stuff and gave me that veteran support that I needed. And, she's just been in my corner. And then here's Sarah coming up and it's just like, wow, these amazing women in my life. And then I know meeting you that night, I was absolutely just taken back because no one was listening to me on what was going on. I was frustrated and I was just like, what the best thing I need to do is I knew Aaron at the conservative, West Loop conservatives. I was like, I'm going to go and lean and trust on conservatives at this point on what's going on. And I just raised my hand and I busted it out. Like, I need help. And Aaron knew about it beforehand. And then Bob Choate, he met with me right afterwards. And he's been in my corner a lot of it, giving me lots of motivation and going through things for me, cleaning it up, making it more civilian, I guess.
Yeah, he's been a big help. And Jennifer, you have been a huge blessing in
Yeah.
my life. It really is. Yeah.
Amazing.
You and Sarah both. I mean,
Yeah, what you did when we got the virus was absolutely astounding.
Forgot about that.
Yeah. The thing is, Dakota and Baby were the ones that were symptomatic.
Yeah.
I didn't have cough, cold, nothing. What happened is that the prosthetics that are inside my body,
Mhm.
those things lit up. And I've never had that happen. It's like I would put pressure on it and I would just fall forward. I kept falling and hitting my head on the ground, and I couldn't get my legs to work. And I started freaking out. I was like, what's going on here?
Sure.
I've never, and they did say that it would affect people differently. I didn't expect it to affect me that differently, because everything else is like, once I got the help that I needed, and she would Dr. Bowden actually listened to my stuff, and she's like, oh my gosh. And she said she wants to come in and see those scars that I have because they're completely interesting.
Well, I never got to see him either. I remember when you told me about him, I was like, yeah, I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I know. I was with a nurse yesterday, and she's like, can I see them? I want to see all of them. They're really cool. And I showed her like the MRIs and everything. She was like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. But yeah, she was really, really happy to see those. I guess what it is like when nurses do, I notice when I do go to the ER and I do see a new nurse or something, when they see the scars, they're just like, ooh, that's something we've never seen before. And they get to tell them about it.
We're crazy. Anything different, or scars or surgeries or something's hanging off, or we're like, oh, let me see. Like, what is it? What is it?
Yeah, it really was.
I think you have to be in that line of work just a little bit.
It's just that some of them get a little bit too pokey, and then they squeeze or they do this. I'm like, okay, that's enough. Enough.
Yeah. No, that's doctor's jobs. I let the doctor do all the pushing and the prodding usually, because I know it hurts. I just take a look and like, ooh, but try not to poke too much.
Well, is there anything else that y'all would, because it's almost coming up on the hour, is there anything else y'all would like to address? I know we had talked about, let's go ahead and pull up her fundraiser one more time.
And I appreciate helping spread the fundraiser, because it's a lot of work, and man, we just have the money like Methodist does, but I am Methodist found themselves in a bit of a pickle, because I don't think they've ever met somebody as strong-headed and stubborn and willful as me, and they kept thinking, I guess, that I would back down, and it's just never going to happen. So this one will keep us going long enough to keep fighting them, and then every few months, I'm just going to find a really fun, creative fundraiser to do to just help us keep going, so that way we can win it for everybody.
Right. And if you have anything that needs to be signed or petitions, I know that Sarah is really good about doing petitions. We'll go out and do petitions. We've been doing these live interviews with people, asking them questions. If you ever wanted us to come and do something like that.
That would
absolutely. Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Problem. Yeah. We have a great time doing it. And just like talking to people. It's a great time.
Sarah, if you could talk a little bit about your charities and what you do or your activism.
More or less, I'm an activist for childhood cancer, parental rights, and medical freedoms. And if we don't have medical freedom, then we don't have very much of a good life. Because if we are coerced into situations that affect our body and our well-being and our future, then this is not America. So I feel like that firing doctors that you don't align with, or who push you into a way of trying to make you do something that you do not feel comfortable with, whether it be this or chemo or not being able to get testing done that affects the well-being of your child, no less. Second, I also want to try to legislate for firing a doctor, hospital protocols, various hospital protocols, because you don't have rights whenever your child is diagnosed with cancer.
I got a question for you. Is this on not firing a doctor? Because I believe in due process of things going both ways. What about doctors being able to refuse to see a patient? Because here's the thing, we're all people. We don't click with everybody every time. And I believe, and I've seen it in the VA, is that these doctors are being forced to see patients they just don't click with. And that's causing them both to stress. Would you be willing to push where there's medical freedom also for the doctor of choice?
I think that needs to be a different bill, because I feel like that can also, do you know what? Good question. I would have to talk to one of our elected officials about that. I know that Senator Brandon Crichton is really on board. I know State Rep Valerie Swanson is really on board for Texas Fragile Kids, protect Texas Fragile Kids. I also know various, anyone that's on the Texas Freedom Caucus, reach out to them, because they are the ones that were at that press conference and saying what y'all are doing as a government system is wrong, and I am proposing a bill. And that's whenever Abbott was more or less saying that he wasn't going to call a fourth session. Although there was, probably about 8 different elected officials there proposing new bills that would protect the people.
Yeah, this is just something that I really wanted to see that's clarity, because here's the thing, if we, like I'm saying, if it looks like a bill that's going to be just attacking doctors, pretty much it's not going to allow them to have the freedom that they have too. And that's something that I was wondering if you were going to considering as well, because it's like I said, it's all about a relational thing, and if we don't have that relation there with our doctors and it's all red tape, that's where the breakdown's going to happen. And these pharmaceutical companies and these officials will know that, because I believe after the stuff that we've seen, we do believe that the government is hand deep in these mega hospitals like Methodist, even Memorial Hermann, in a way, with their rules and regulations, because
almost every hospital in Texas, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Because
even college hospitals, Covenant up north, because we actually know we had a friend of ours that's a nurse who actually he's out in California, and he told us about the DHS 2017 making a prevention reality report was rewritten and distributed to hospitals. And I was like, oh, okay. So the FBI is actually involved in those policies as well. And it's so funny is they just piggybacked off policy from the Veteran Affairs Administration. And it's looking more one world every day. But anyways,
I just want to say thank y'all for all that y'all do. I know that this is not easy on both sides, both of y'all's ends and whatnot, because we are fighting the good fight. And I just am so happy that I'm linking arms with y'all and different various situations. And if there's anything that I can help with, please let me know, because I will be there.
The feeling's mutual. I believe right now Dakota and I are on duty and on post, and we're just waiting for orders. If y'all tell us to go there, we'll show up.
Yeah, absolutely. If y'all need help with anything, please let us know.
I do want to share with y'all's viewers that there is one event happening tomorrow, and I sent that link to y'all.
Yes, it's the standing up against Balenciaga.
Yes.
Oh wow!
I saw that.
I just wanted to spread that out because it is happening tomorrow. So if you can show up in the big cities, that would be amazing.
We're a Messianic Jew, so tomorrow is our church, so we will be there probably right afterwards.
Yeah,
if it's still going on.
Yeah, definitely.
Of course. We just, again, Jennifer, you have been actually a personal hero of mine. I also want to thank you for coming on. anybody, again, I'm going to put up your website here. If anyone wants to read, hit up guardiansofmedicalchoice.com. Please support, please show up for your fundraisers, veterans out there. It's clay shoot time. Let's go. We know how to throw down on that.
We're country girls, girl. I mean, I was shooting at the age of 5, so I'm really excited about this.
Yeah, I want to go. To be honest.
And what's awesome about it too is they actually offered it up to me, because the last fundraiser we did out in Montgomery, they were so cool out there at Blackwood Gun Club. They donated different things to our raffle. And then the owner of it called me up and she's like, hey, next time you do another fundraiser, hit us up. We'll do a big clay shoot one out here. So like they just brought it to me and I was like, that sounds like fun, so let's go ahead and do that one. And I'm all
I know.
money and having a good time at the same time.
Are you going shooting?
I can go.
Yeah, I know. Dakota's thinking about doing it. Unfortunately, I'm not sure there's supposed to be a recall on the cement that's in my arm, so I will not be shooting.
Oh my God.
Until we can figure what's going on with that.
You can just drive the golf cart and eat the lunch and hang out.
I am very good at eating, so I can do that.
You got a shotgun and I've never shot yet. I don't know if your dad's even shot that.
Yeah, yes. I've shot it.
Still got the stickers on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've shot it.
Okay.
I mean, we have to shoot it, clean it, kind of thing. Yeah, but we'll definitely be there. Anyways, but that's it for tonight's show, I guess, unless you have any final thoughts.
Well, final thoughts that I have is that anybody here watching tonight, I want you to all keep in mind, because it seems like a lot of people are forgetting that you are a person and you are an individual when it comes to everything about you. And if anybody is not giving you that individual attention, especially your doctor, something needs to be said, and you need to stand up against that. You need to leave that doctor and find one that treats you like a person, not a machine.
That's exactly right. And they're out there, and they're willing to sacrifice. And if you see those doctors, make sure, it's give and take. Make sure you give them their support when it's a human issue. It's being kind to each other. It's loving each other. Make sure you're there for people and us not sitting there as a social media warrior saying we're there for you. I tell you what, since we've started this journey and we've been active in our communities and actually doing things, we've met some amazing people. People are amazing. And you know what? They just need a rally point. And these two fine ladies right here are great places. Again, go to guardiansofmedicalchoice.com, or you can come over to My United Activists, Love Someone with Cancer. Hit these ladies up. It's a rally point to get started. Go and volunteer and get with them. You will never be disappointed, I guarantee you. It's actually pretty fun and entertaining most of the time. So get with these lovely ladies. Support your community. God bless, and take care. Dakota, attention to taps.
Thank you. And y'all take care also.
You too. We'll talk to you later.